Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make over these clear ornaments, and I know that Dollar Tree carries these, but I bought these last year at Walmart for 97 cents, so you can easily find these for $1. But I'm going to make them over 4 different ways, and with this one I'm going to put some clay molds on it. So I'm using my trim molds from Redesign, and a viewer suggested that I put my cornstarch in the toe of a sock and then cut that off and tie string around it, and it kind of acts as a powder puff. So I'm trying it now for the first time, and that's actually a really good idea. So I'll be using that from now on. Thank you. And I can't remember what her name was, but that was really good information. So I'm going to make enough of this trim mold here to go around the outer edge of the ornament. And then I'm going to use my birdsong mold, and this is a IOD mold, and just make 2 of this one little bird here, because I'm going to put one on each side of my ornament. These little ornaments are really good to keep on hand because there's a number of things that you can do to them. And I know that surely you've seen people put snow in them and make kind of like a snow globe ornament, and I've made some of those, but these are going to be completely different from that. So like I said, I just kind of was trying to give you a few different ways to make these over, and there's actually much more than what I'm doing today. So I'm using Tite Bond here to glue these on. So I just put a little on there, and I like to rub it smooth with my fingers and make sure that the glue is all the way to the edge of the mold, because you definitely want your edges to glue down well. So like I said, I'm going to glue this all the way around the outer edge. And then I'm going to glue my little birds, one on each side of the ornament. And I'm sorry for any background noise that you might hear, because my granddaughter and husband are in the house and they try to stay quiet, but tonight they're a little busier than usual, so I'm hoping that none of that comes through. But like I said, I just glue these to each side and then let them dry about 30 minutes, and then they'll be ready to paint. And then I use the color Tea Rose and paint this all over. And I make sure to get down in all the little creases, but I just give it one coat of this color and it covers well. And here I'm just I've got this on a little butter knife and stuck down in a styrofoam block, and that will give me a good place to let this dry once I'm finished. And then once that dries well, then I go over it with some white wax with my brush, and then wipe the excess off with a soft cloth. Now at this point, I've let my my molds dry for several hours because you're going to have to put some pressure on them. So I do let all this dry really well before I do my wax coat. And once I finish wiping or brushing this on, like I said, I'll go back and wipe it off. And then this is what it looks like. And now I'm just going to make a simple bow to go on it. I thought here about using some ribbon that just kind of hung down and decided against that. But I'm using a thicker lace ribbon here, and I'm just making a simple bow. So I just kind of pinch it together in my finger, and I'm making a double bow here. so that it has a little more substantial look to it. So I just kind of pinch this together on my finger, and then I'll take a thinner strand of ribbon and tie around the center of that, and then I'll leave me a tail hanging so that I can tie that around the top of the ornament. So as you can see here, I'm just taking a thinner one and tying around the center of this, and that will just make a real simple bow that I can just tie around the top. And then there, the first one is finished. And other than drying time for the clay, this one didn't take much, very long to do. And this one I've painted the color buttercream, and now I'm tearing out, this is rice paper, but you could use napkins to decoupage on, or any kind of a thin paper. But I want to tear this out because I want to give it more of an organic edge around it. I don't like that cut edge. And with this rice paper, it's very fibrous, and I don't mind that at all. I actually like that look. But I have two images on this rice paper, and one is smaller here, and I'm just going to kind of put it on the back so that the back has a little something. But the floral image there is going to go on the main side. So I just tear these out, and then I'm going to decoupage them on the front and the back. And when you're decoupaging anything, that this small one I'm not going to have to worry about, but the larger one, because this ornament is not completely flat, I want it to lay down flat. So the best way to do that, and I know this looks crazy here, but just tear from the edge down to the center, or almost to the center, all the way around, and that will help it lay more to the shape of your bulb, I guess, your ornament. You would think that it would mess up your image, but it really doesn't. It just helps it to lay down flat. And then when you have it decoupaged on, you can't even tell that it's ripped. It will make it lay much smoother. So I just start from the center there and work it out to the edge. But I didn't bring my decoupage all the way out as large as this image was, so I ended up having to add some there around the edges. But now I'm just going to work from the inside out all the way around, and then it will have a really neat finish to it. So I do that on the front and the back, and like I said, I don't really have to rip that smaller image. It'll lay down flat. So once I get this decoupaged on, then I want to kind of mimic the background of this paper. So, like I said, I let this dry well, and then I'm going to kind of try to blend some of this into, so that the image just kind of looks like it goes rather than it's just been added on. So here I'm adding a little bit of a bronze craft paint. And this is just one of the metallic bronze craft paints. It's just water paint, just like the other apple barrel paint. But I'm just taking a little stencil brush and just very lightly dabbing around the edge to kind of just kind of blend that in and bring out some of the color from the image into the other part of the bulb. And then once I have this finished, then I'm just going to start pouncing a little bit of color with my brush. And so I kind of feather that out into the ornament. And like I said, I'm going to do that but on both the front and the back. And then I take some of that bronze and go over the the top, I go ahead and put my top on, and then and I've painted that the buttercream also, and now I'm just kind of pouncing some of that bronze on that, and then just sporadically on other parts of the ornament. And this is just kind of mimic the look of the background of this decoupage paper. And now I'm just kind of pouncing some of a darker tan onto this, and again, that's just kind of bringing in some dimension in the color so that it's not just that off-white on the background. And I'm just kind of adding some layers of color. So once I get this tan added in, then I'm going to go back and add a little bit of gold. And but the gold that I'm going to use, you could definitely use some gold craft paint, just like I have the bronze and also have some gold. You could do that, but I'm just going to, once I get this done and it dries, I'm just going to take some gilding wax, just because I have some gold gilding wax, and then I'll just take my finger and just kind of dab it here and there, and that will bring out the gold that's in the image. And each of these layers just kind of adds to it, and I really like the look that this gold gives. And now this one is finished, all but adding something around the top. So I just tie some lace and stick an old button on there, and a couple little old buttons actually, and then this one is finished. And now for the next one, I have two more that I'm going to do, and for the next one, I'm going to keep it really simple. So I have this sheer lace, and I actually bought this by the cut yard at Walmart, and I think it's like 1.5 yards for $4 or something like that. It's a really good value because I love the feel and the look of this lace. So my plan here is to do is just wrap this around, but I decided I wanted some warmth behind the lace, so I decided to take some of a warmer color of lace, actually a lot warmer color of lace, because this particular doily that I'm using is very badly stained, and it just made it, it's a really darker color. I don't know what they got on this, but I washed it and it's not going to come clean. So this stain part is not usable at all to me. So I thought, why not cut that out and stuff that down inside the ornament before I put my lace on the top or on the outside, and that will just add some warmth behind the lace. And so I just kind of stuff enough of this down in there that it fills it up. I don't fill it up tightly. I just kind of loosely put it in there. And then I can wrap my other lace around that. So now all I have to do is just take that lace and put it around it and tie it around the top, and then cut my excess away. And that's a very easy way to do, to cover not just this type of ornament, but even the round ones you can do this with. I just think it looks better on the flatter ones. And you can see how simple this one is. So I just tie some lace around and just kind of let it hang. And then I'm just going to cut my excess and until I like the look of it. And I didn't cut it straight across. I just kind of cut back here and there until I like the look of it. And now I'm just going to put my hanger back on, and now this is ready to embellish. So I'm going to be embellishing this with some buttons and pearls just there at the top, and then I'm going to make a hang tag for it. And if you've not seen the video where I show an easy way of making hang tags, I I just take a file folder and cover it on both sides with some decoupage paper, and then I cut it into different sizes for hang tags, and then I have those already ready, and all I have to do is just kind of add something to them that will go with the item that I'm putting them on. So that's just a very simple way to make hang tags, and like I said, have them ready to just add a little something to, and it not be so overwhelming to keep hang tags on your items. But now, like I said, I'm just adding these little pearl things that you get at the Dollar Tree around the buttons, just to dress it up a little bit more. And then I'm going to add that hang tag, and then this one will be finished. And you could leave it like this without a hang tag. I just felt like a hang tag would add a little extra something to it. So here are the little hang tags that I had ready to embellish, and I just cut those up like I said, and then I added, I put a hole in them with a hole punch and put my string through it, and now all I have to do is embellish it to match my, or to go with my ornament. So I'm putting a little scrunched lace there and putting this little Star of Bethlehem on it, and now I can just tie that around, and then this will be finished. And then for the last one, I'm going to make this one a little bit more rustic. It's still going to have that shabby chic look, but it's going to be a lot more rustic. So, yes, this is a sock, and I'm just putting this. This is just a man's sock that I have coffee stained pretty heavily. And I'm just going to cover this ornament with that. And you have that line there at the toe, and make sure that that line is around the outer edge and that it's right on that edge, because I'm going to be adding some lace to that, so it will hide that. And now I'm just going to cut the excess away and leave just enough to tuck down in the top. And before I do that, I'm going to add just a little glue there around the neck so that that stays in place better. And then, like I said, I'm just going to tuck it down inside. And it'll bunch up somewhat there because I'm using this thicker sock. You could use a thinner sock and it would do better, but this is the only one I had, or the only kind I had. And it's not going to be a problem, because the only thing is my top won't go on completely down over it, but it doesn't matter that it just sits there on the top, because I'm going to be adding some lace and things around the top, and I can glue that and make sure that it attaches well. So that turns out to not be an issue for me. So I'm taking the lace from the Dollar Tree here and gluing around the sides, but I'm going to do this in 2 layers because I want that scalloped edge to be on both the front and the back. So here I'm gluing that scalloped edge down good, because when I glued it to begin with, I'm just gluing right there at the seam, and I'm overlapping this just somewhat here. And then once I get this glued all the way around, like I said, then I'll add some additional glue to make sure that the scalloped edge is laying down flat, if that makes sense. So as you can see, that's what I'm doing here, is just adding a little and kind of pressing that down to give it a neater finish. And now you can kind of do whatever you want to with these. Just layer them up with laces and buttons and just whatever you choose here. Or you can add flowers to them, And I'm going to be adding just a few little rosettes to these, or to this one rather. So this is a good ornament to use some of your scraps on because like I said, we're just going to kind of layer things up, and I'm going to build some of my rosettes just straight onto the ornament. And here I'm just adding a little texture from a doily that is kind of in pieces. I've worked off this doily for a long time, and I'm just adding a little to the front and the back. And now I can kind of layer some flowers, and I'm going to put some flowers here, some of my rosettes around the top here. And I'm sure you've seen these done. If you haven't seen me do them, you've seen someone, because these are done a lot because they work really well for embellishments, and they're very simple to do. And because I'm kind of speeding through this one, if you want a more detailed way to do these, or a more detailed video on how to do these, because I do a close-up and I slow it down so that it's very easy to understand how to do it, then I'll attach that video to this in the description. And so if you want to watch that, look in the description and there'll be a video on that. So as you can see, I'm just kind of building them straight onto this. Sometimes I'll take a piece of fabric and build them onto the fabric, or a piece of cardboard. But when you have an item that you're going to glue it on anyway, it's just as simple just to start where your center, where you want the center of your flower to be, and just kind of build it straight on. So now I'm adding some cheesecloth over the top of that lace, and like I said, just layering up a little bit more, but also softening the look of that lace. And I just kind of bunch it up. I think that gives it a better look if you don't lay it down flat. And now I can just add buttons and little pearl accessories, and just kind of dress this up however you want to do it. And here I'm just kind of adding another small rosette there. I like things in threes. I think sometimes you can get away with just two, but in this case I'm feeling like it needs a third one here. And I know this one is very rustic, and I have a lot of coffee staining on this one, and if you don't really like that look, then use any kind of sock that you want on this, or just lightly stain it. But I really like the rustic look along with the soft, dainty look. I think it's just a really pretty shabby chic look to me. And here I'm just adding just little bits of these little pearl accessories. And I just keep layering. I feel like so many of the ornaments that I do kind of mimic the hang tags. So once you figure out how to do those hang tags, then it will help you with a lot of these ornaments also. So once you get all the embellishment that you want on there, then all I'm doing here is just tying a little piece of ribbon and letting it hang. I was going to tie that around the center, but it didn't go all the way around, and I had my flowers in the way, so I just decided to tie the knot in the center of that, or tie a knot in the center of that strip of lace, and just kind of mimic that it was tied around the neck. And then that one is complete. And I love how this one turned out. This one actually is more my kind of ornament. But there they all are. And as you can see, they each have a very different look. And each one that you do will be a one of a kind. So that's what I like about this kind of crafting, is you can just kind of make it your own. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.